staff at the Reserve Bank of Australia have just negotiated a new wage deal that includes, get this, 8 wellbeing days. Now, if you're not sure what a wellbeing day is, it's a kind of a modern miracle. It's a day off work where you don't have to explain yourself at all. Take a nap, binge TV, drink all day at the pub. If you call it a wellbeing day, you'll be paid to do it. And nothing says fiscal responsibility like the RBA paying staff to do absolutely anything or nothing at all. But here's the kicker. The RBA has spent the past year wagging its finger at the rest of us about the importance of productivity. Last November, RBA Governor Michelle Bullock told the Committee for Economic Development of Australia, quote, "If we want to grow our living standards, we need productivity growth in the economy." And just weeks ago, RBA Assistant Governor Sarah Hunter gave a speech entitled "Why Productivity Matters for Central Bankers." Meanwhile, the RBA itself, which boosted staff numbers by 15% last financial year, has given its people 8 wellbeing days a year. Living standards are rising all right, Caleb, but only if you work on the taxpayer dime at the RBA.
Did you say wankers or bankers, James? I actually, you got me on board there when you were going through the list of things you could do on your wellbeing day. Once you got to drink
I thought a couple of those might appeal to you,
I thought, geez, I'm on here. I love this. What about the well-being of those of us who have to pay our mortgages every week or fortnight or month, depending on what your arrangements are? I mean, there is no interest rate cut in sight, and I know that's not the RBA's fault necessarily. The federal government has a lot to do with that in terms of where inflation and economic movement is at. But see, this is great. If you are on the public dime, as you say, or the cent in Australia, and you can have your 8 wellbeing days, which comes out of your personal leave. So they're effectively adding, I mean, most people in most workplaces get 10 personal leave days a year, otherwise known as sick leave. So they're adding another 8 on top. It's nearly 2 weeks off that you can take, no questions asked. Now, does that mean that you could take it all in one block? Does it mean you have to take it, one day here, one day there? I'm not entirely sure, because you could effectively, by my reading of it, turn it into another week and a half of annual leave. I'm
thing I thought.
I know. I'm going off on holiday to Europe, and then when I come back, I'll need my 8 days of wellbeing leave in order to recover from all the debauchery I got up to over there. Why couldn't you do that? So you're just handing them extra leave, which is fine when the public is paying for it. But once you set the standard in the public service, it starts in the RBA, and then the rest of the public service says they want it, and then the highly unionised private workforces will start demanding exactly the same thing too. So, well, why do they get this wellbeing leave? Surely I'm entitled to it as well, my wellbeing. I mean, arguably, the wellbeing of a lot of people who work in the private sector is more challenged than those who work at the RBA. I mean, I would have thought someone who works on a work site, a brickie or a tradie, his wellbeing is probably threatened a lot more every day than someone who works at the RBA. So it will become the standard. Everyone will get wellbeing leave. And how are we meant to pay for that?
Yeah, well, I think it just shows how out of touch the public service is with the rest of Australia. Businesses are laying off staff. We've got record insolvencies. Meanwhile, the public sector under a Labor government that supports unionisation and these crazy EBAs are empowering them to ask for more and more. And money doesn't grow on trees. The RBA bankers would know that. It has to come from somewhere, and it comes from us as taxpayers. But when you look at the numbers, the rort is clear. Public sector workers are earning on average $20,000 more every year than private sector equivalents. They're taking 13 sick days a year on average. A private sector worker has about a third less than that they're even entitled to. Public sector productivity has collapsed by almost 10% in the last 3 years. They are a sector that if this was a private sector workforce, half of them would be sacked. They certainly wouldn't be getting pay rises, and they definitely wouldn't be getting well-being days at our expense. This is a joke.
Well, you have to wonder what sort of a place the RBA is to work if you need well-being days, so it doesn't sound like a very pleasant place. I love it when the Treasurer says, we're aware that working people are doing it tough. Well, they are doing it tough, but not at the RBA. They're doing very nicely, thank you.
Indeed, and of course you have to consider as well that most of the people who've got a job in the private sector in the last 3 years got one because of government funding anyway. I mean, something like 70% of the jobs that have been, 75% I think it is actually, of the jobs that have been created over the last few years are related to the government in some way, whether it be education or health or childcare or whatever. The money is fundamentally coming from the government. So it's all government, basically.
This story comes on top of, last night we were talking about the Bureau of Meteorology, right? Have spent, $96 million on a website. Today it's the RBA giving 8 days wellbeing leave. Can you name one government department that you've ever thought to yourself, they really do a good job and provide great service for the taxpayer?
If I tried to think of that, we'd probably get to the top of the hour and we'd all have to go home. And we will have done as much work as the average public servant.
There you go.
So there you go.